Today, we're talking about something huge. All the essential money skills that school, for some reason, just never got around to teaching us.
So let's just start with a question that honestly hits pretty close to home for most of us. Think about it. You spend more than a decade in school, right? You learn about geometry, historical battles, the life cycle of a frog, but then you get out into the real world, you get that first paycheck, and you have this sinking feeling. This feeling that you're just not prepared. So why is that? Why do so many of us feel totally lost when it comes to money?
Well, here's the answer, and it's a big one. The whole system is basically designed to teach you how to be a good employee, how to show up, do a job, and trade your time for a paycheck. And look, that's an important skill, but it's only half of the story. The other half, the part that actually leads to financial freedom, is learning how to make your money work just as hard, if not harder than you do.
So, consider this your official enrollment in a crash course for the school we all should have gone to. Let's start by looking at what we learned versus what we probably needed to learn.
It's kind of wild when you see it laid out like this, isn't it? We spent weeks, maybe months, memorizing things like the Krebs cycle. But what about understanding your own personal cash flow? You know, the money coming in and the money going out. We can probably remember a few historical dates, but can we explain the absolute magic of compounding interest? We wrestled with complex formulas, but were never taught the incredibly simple, game-changing difference between an asset and a liability. And hey, this isn't about blaming anyone, it's just about recognizing that there's a gap, so we can finally start filling it.
Okay, so let's get into what might be the single most important financial rule you will ever learn. I like to call it the two-column rule, and it is the absolute bedrock of building wealth.
But first, let's just get on the same page here. Financial literacy, it sounds intimidating, right? Like it's some secret code for Wall Street wizards, but it's not. It is simply a skill. It's the ability to understand how money works, just like learning an instrument or a new language. And the great thing about skills, anyone can learn them. Anyone can practice and get better.
So, here it is, the two-column rule. Forget all the complicated jargon for a second and just focus on this. It all boils down to two simple ideas. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket, and a liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. That's it. That's the filter. This simple distinction is how wealthy people look at literally every financial decision they make.
So what does this look like in the real world? Well, an asset could be a stack that pays you a dividend, or a rental property that brings in cash every month. On the other side of the ledger, you've got liabilities. That car loan that pulls money from your bank account every month, that's a liability. That credit card debt where the interest is working against you, a huge liability. And yeah, I know this next one is a little controversial, but even the mortgage on the house you live in is technically a liability because every single month it takes money out of your pocket.
Okay, so we understand the rule now, but how do we actually use it? This next part is all about taking your money and turning it into your hardest working employee.
This is it, the wealth building machine in 4 simple steps. Number 1, you earn money from your job. That's the part school prepared us for. Step 2, you take some of that money and you buy assets. This doesn't have to be a giant investment. It could be a single share of a company. Step 3, those assets start to generate their own income. You then take that new money to buy even more assets. And step 4, you just repeat the cycle. It starts small, for sure, but this creates a financial snowball that gets bigger and bigger every single time it goes around.
So, does that little process actually work? Take a look at this number. This is the power of putting your money to work. Let's say you invested just $100 a month, that's about $3 a day, and you got an 8% return, which is pretty typical for the stock market over the long run. After 30 years, you could have over $174,000. And the amazing part is, most of that isn't the money you put in. It's the earnings your money made, and then the earnings on those earnings. That is your money working for you.
But you know, knowing the playbook isn't enough. There's something deeper going on, something much more powerful. And that's your mindset. We actually have to rethink the software our brain is running when it comes to the whole topic of money.
I love this quote because it gets right to the point. Your financial reality on the outside is almost always a direct mirror of your internal conversation on the inside. The stories you tell yourself, that money is hard to come by, that you're just bad with money, they tend to become self-fulfilling prophecies.
And that internal voice, it usually falls into one of two camps. The scarcity mindset believes that the pie is only so big. It's constantly whispering there's never enough. So its main goal is just to save and hoard out of fear. It sees risk as something to run away from. But the abundance mindset, it believes there are opportunities everywhere. It focuses not just on saving, but on earning and investing to grow the pie. It doesn't fear risk, it learns how to manage it. So, which one of those sounds a little more like you? All right, so we've covered the what, the how, and the why. Let's pull it all together and figure out where to go from here. Because your real financial education and your own wealth story, it starts right now.
Let's just boil it down to the essentials. Your goal from now on is simple. Focus your energy on buying assets and do your best to avoid liabilities. Your strategy is straightforward. Build that system where your money starts working for you, creating that cycle of growth. And your real power? It comes from inside. It comes from actively choosing to cultivate an abundance mindset that sees opportunity instead of lack.
So there you have it. The path is a lot clearer now, right? That knowledge gap is starting to close. You now understand the fundamental rules of the game that school just never taught you. The only question left is the one on your screen. You've been given the map. Where are you going to go first?